Hominy, Oklahoma is the epitome of a small town. The population, about 3,000. The only grocery store in town, closed down a few years ago. But it's also the hometown of Cardinals first-round pick Zaven Collins. And this community helped shape the player and person into who he is today. And while he might be living in Arizona now, he'll always call Hominy and the people here home.
My upbringing was really nice, and it was small town feel. I mean, it was a small town.
There's nothing you're going to do or anything that's going to happen that everybody don't know about. You know, everybody kind of takes care of everybody and looks out for everybody, and that's the way we do it.
It's nothing to see a bake sale going on and the whole community coming out to help either purchase uniforms, purchase trophies.
You may have had somebody in the 1970s, and then all of a sudden he's bringing his nephew back in the 90s to play here. We came to school here because our dads or our uncles, our grandpas fell in love with the pride of football.
Everything else really kind of plays second fiddle to football and Hominy, and that's what we're known for.
The oil field is definitely the big driver, and then I think Osage Nation, you know, our heritage with Native Americans. Blue collar people, nice people, that want to work hard and take care of each other.
Zaven has always been a pleaser. He wants to make you laugh. He wants to make you smile. That's how he has always been and probably always will be. I'd always tell him to cheese, and so he still smiles in every picture. They would lose a game and he'd be the only one smiling in the pictures.
He's a well-mannered kid. He's a smart kid. He's respectful. He tries hard, always smiling, and you pick up on that from the time he was little bitty.
We go back to flag football with that group of boys. They dominated. And they never lost a game from flag football until they got into junior high. So by the time them kids were 7, 8 years old, you had the coaches talking about, that's going to be our next state champion. I can't wait to them. This went on years before they even got to high school.
Their Little League coach called me over the first night I was there. He was the old Hominy quarterback. I'm an old Hominy quarterback. He said, Coach, he said, we've got a group. He said that it's going to win a state championship if you'll stay here. When they started playing the next fall, I went and watched them, you know, and I was like, ooh, he might not be, you know, far off. You know, I mean, they were a really talented group, and Zaven was not the alpha male in that bunch when he was a baby. He just wasn't. He was too nice.
People really expect a lot out of us because of how talented we were whenever we were younger. And then it kind of just carried over with our work ethic into high school.
I pushed him all through school just to be his best, not my best. For instance, in speech class, be the first one to go. That way you set the bar for everybody else and you don't have to listen.
She is an absolute stud. There's not a mama out there that loves her child more than what Haley Collins does.
She was almost the hero of the story. You know, things could have gone a lot differently. You know, she's a single mom raising him, and, you know, she went back to school so she could, like, set him up for a good life. He was a high school valedictorian. I mean, that was her making sure he was doing everything right.
He never made a B, you know what I mean, until he was like, I think we were in 7th grade, and one of my DC, who's just a really tough teacher, he wasn't making an A in there, and Haley was getting upset with Coach Green, and Coach Green was like, hey, he's gonna be all right, you know, we're teaching this kid, you know, how to do things right.
And so she just got on Zaven immediately. You get that B up. The funny story, they call her the helicopter or something like that, but she was very open to, you do whatever, we trust you as a coaching staff or as the adult.
Well, she's just like her hair, she's fiery, but in all the right ways. She just taught him well from an early age to respect his elders, to try hard. If he started something, he was gonna finish it.
That wasn't just some overnight deal. You know, that's a consistent, every day, every week, every month, every year of his life since he was, you know, a baby.
See, being a single mom is always a huge challenge. It is for any single mom, and there's no right way. There's no how-to book. As long as he's happy, I'm happy.
I told him, I said, I'm moving you to quarterback, and his eyes just widened open, you know, right there, and it kind of lit a fire under his tail that I've never seen.
It was really neat to kind of see him transition from youth sports to junior high sports to high school sports, because he really hit his growth spurt somewhere around the age of 15, I'm guessing, and then he just took off.
For him just to sidearm a ball 30 yards and land it perfect, it's like, you know, what the heck? We called him a man-child.
They gave it to us, and I struggled as a coach. Zaven struggled as a quarterback.
So we had a lot of steam built up going into that game, and kind of got blown out of the water that game.
We made a highlight video of his 4 interceptions and everybody else's awful plays that they, did in the semis. We watched it every day, every week. I think that is really what drove him.
He kind of had to transition from, being one of the guys to the guy, and then once he was the guy, he kind of had to transition to is not only am I not the guy, but I'm gonna lead you guys.
I think as coaches kind of started halfway feeling bad, because we would throw that on and it was just like a gut punch.
And next year we had the same goal, same opportunity, and yeah, we kind of used that just to fuel the fire a little bit against, whenever we probably were getting lackadaisical.
It was overcoming his demons, what he didn't do so well the year before.
It doesn't matter where you go. They're still talking about that season. Who did this when this happened? That's still a big point. Like it seems like it happened yesterday still.
I think it was a turning point more in a way of, just forget about it and move on. It's whatever's happened, forget about it and move on. It's something that you can't change. So I think that's a great lesson to learn. Being able to do that for the town of Hominy. I think the last one before that was in 2001, and it was pretty special.
Most frustrating process I've ever been through as a head football coach.
Me and my mom don't make much a year, and she was taking money out of her 401k to send me all around the U.S. to go to all these different camps, whether coaches wanted me on offense, defense, hell, special teams. I didn't care. We were going out there and performing.
Took him to 12 camps. We would start in Kansas. I'd go down to Texas and come back up to Oklahoma, just hitting camps after camps after camps, trying to be recognized where he was, but nothing ever went through.
I probably sent 120 letters out to everybody in the nation. I got this kid here, somebody needs to come look at. I'm not for sure why they didn't just jump on this guy like a hen on a June bug. I couldn't believe it. It just was blowing my mind. Because of the small school Class A football deal, I just think they overlooked him a little bit.
It's the Class A school, and they just don't think that we have, as well as competition as we should, which is not true. You get a country fed boy in there, they're just as good as your 6A schools.
He wouldn't come out and say it, but inside I could see the frustration growing on this young man. It's like, hey, I'm doing everything right. These guys that I beat to pieces over here, getting scholarships, offers left and right, and for some reason I'm not getting them.
We felt like we needed to add length, add athleticism, add speed, and so that's what we really started searching for. And we knew we were going to have to take some chances on some guys.
You're not going to be able to get, a lot of 4 or 5 star guys. You're probably not going to get any of those. So going after some guys who are maybe a little bit more under the radar, those are going to come from smaller towns in Oklahoma and in Texas.
I think one of the biggest things that we saw just how coachable he was. He wanted information, he wanted to process that information, and then he applied it very quickly. He was so excited. His mother just broke down into tears. Actually, I think fell to her knees on the turf.
They called us to the field afterwards and basically told him he had a full ride. I don't know if I just let it go in one ear and out the other. And then they told me how much the scholarship was worth, and that's when I went to my knees.
They'd been pushing for so long, and this dream had been there for so long, and then to have somebody finally recognize the potential in her son, it's a pretty emotional time.
You just need one, and it's up to you what you do with it. So I kind of, had control of my destiny going into Tulsa. We really worked hard there. The strength staff worked hard. The coaching staff worked hard. And the players worked hard.
Coach Monty and his staff, Coach G, they changed our lives forever. And they took a chance on Zaven. And look where he's at today.
All Zaven Collins wanted was an opportunity to play college football, but many coaches discounted his production at Hominy because he was playing at a lower division. Others knew they had a football player on their hands, but had no idea where to put him. That all changed when he attended a camp right here at the University of Tulsa, where coaches were able to see him at linebacker and see the potential he had at the position. He ended up proving them right, earning freshman All-American honors in 2018 and being named college football's best defensive player in 2020.
They treat all those boys like family, and that was Zaven's second family.
There's just a small town vibe. The coaches were always there for us. We weren't treated like numbers. We were treated, almost like sons.
Typically when you're going through that redshirt season and stuff, they kind of sit back and stay quiet and just listen, don't talk. And he was quite the opposite. He asked the same questions as if he were a 4-year starter at it.
The weight room really agreed with him. He was one of those guys that really, you could see his strength going up. He was putting on weight. At one point in there, I actually told Coach Gillespie, you better watch out, because if he keeps putting on weight, you're never going to get to coach him. He's going to have to move.
During his redshirt season, I remember someone within the program saying that kid's going to play in the NFL. And I was like, he hasn't even played in a game yet. Like, how are they so confident in that?
Second down and 11 from the 33. Rolling out to the right, Bouchel, a man right in his face, and he throws to the right side, incomplete.
That was the turning point for him. He seemed very confident, very comfortable in his role, despite being a young guy.
After that first year, though, you started seeing him step up more. And then, the last couple of years, he's making every call. He's doing all those things defensively. He just kind of blew it out of the roof and saw what he could do, and then just lived up to it every week.
If I told you I envisioned him doing what he did, I'd be lying to you. He's in the top 7 for the Heisman. As a linebacker, that doesn't happen.
To the 40, he may take it all the way. 20, 15, 10, 5. That's a touchdown for Tulsa, and that's a victory for Tulsa. Are you kidding me? It's a 95-yard return by Zaven Collins.
And I think at the end of the day, we've had some really special players come out of here. We've got Hall of Famers that have come out of here. But when you look back on the season that he had, especially his last one with us, maybe the most impactful of players that have come out.
One of the biggest questions that I got asked was, what is he? What exactly is he? Is he a third down rush guy off the edge? Is he an in the box guy? And my biggest response to it now is, what is he not? Because he's proven that he can do all of those things.
It definitely felt like his recruitment all over again. I think he's always been, motivated by, being overlooked when he was in high school.
All these coaches told me I'd never be a big enough player. I'd never have enough competition. I'd never be great enough, good enough, great enough, whatever you want to say, to play at the next level, the Division I level. And honestly, I tell everyone this. I said, piss on them. Excuse my French, but piss on them.
it's just a whole different feeling, a whole different atmosphere to see the commissioner announce your name during first round.
With some of the things they have done, whether you're talking about J.J. Watt and others, some of the pieces that they've brought in, I think for him, he's going to try to soak up as much knowledge as he can from them.
Some of his teammates have embraced him. That's what Zaven really thrives on.
Turn right so you get to the edge of the fairway faster. I'm determined.
I think that he'll learn from those people and that he'll be a ambassador for Arizona, Oklahoma, the University of Tulsa, Hominy High School. I just think he has all those attributes that, you know, he kind of gets everything.
Throws right side, and it's intercepted by TU. Coming up with the interception, Zaven Collins. Collins intercepts the ball with 1:29 to play.
You really learn who you are whenever you come from a small town, because you really, no one's got anything. You guys all start from the, zero. So, having my community have my back, it means the world.
To be watching football games and hear him talk about, Zaven Collins from the small town in the middle of nowhere, Hominy, Oklahoma. That's what it's all about.
We owe him a lot, because you gave us these kids that, are struggling or could go either way on the fence. Now I can just say, man, look right here. Let's look at the choices. Let's look at the road he followed. And man, you may not obviously get to the level he did, but we can maximize your God-given ability.
It shows the youth around here, the young kids, it gives them something to look forward to, that if Zaven can do it, any of us can.
He's from a small town, he went to a small school, and he made the most of his opportunities, but he's very thankful and grateful for those opportunities that he's had.
His intangibles are better than his measurables. You know what I mean? And that's hard to say when your measurables are like that. You know what I mean? You're talking about the best defensive player in college football. Who's a better person?
I hope that people sit there and talk about what a man he is and what kind of a man in his character, because however good he is on the football field, he's twice that as a man.
A good old country boy is really what it is. A good guy from the middle of nowhere, really, more than a football player.